Good morning guys, I'm Chris and welcome back to this Sunday's episode of Rift Amps. Something a bit different but also something very familiar. I've just been looking back over my service records. I haven't had a straight up champ in for a long time. Vibro champs, yes. Tweed champs, yes. But not just a straight up champ on its own. Very cool. And I do love these things. I really do love these things. Not sure on the year on this one yet. Customer thinks it's a 74, but he's not quite sure. And he actually lives in the same village as where the workshop is based. It's just around the corner from here. And he said this thing's been in storage for a long time. He pulled it out of storage. He did the thing that nobody should ever do, which is plug it in to see what happens. Right? If you pull something out of storage that's been in there for, I mean, he thinks, good 8 years or so. He just plugged it in and it started to hum. Or he said it was quite noisy. Wasn't entirely sure, if that was correct. But he's owned the amp for a large amount of time, but just hasn't used it. So yeah, he's brought it into me. For a check over, a resurrection, as I like to call them, bring them back to life, make sure it's all good. I plugged it in and turned it on and there was no power, completely dead. Fuse hadn't popped, but nothing was turning on. Reached around the back, wiggled the tubes, or the valves, and the thing came to life, which I suspect was more of a vibration thing. So we've probably got a faulty on-off switch, because when you fire this thing up, it doesn't always turn on, and then seemingly it's got a mind of its own, and it does. But yeah, silver panel champ, in quite nice condition, pretty reasonable. It has unfortunately got a replacement 8-inch speaker in the back. Customer said years and years and years ago he lent it to a friend who cranked the damn thing at some rehearsal or whatnot and popped the speaker, so he's popped this Jensen in. So that's what it's running. It is a UK model and it's got the factory UK plug on it, so really cool. So let's get this thing apart, we'll have a look. It is serial number, can you see, A48139, chassis stamp Tango 4. So let's get this thing apart. Have a quick look inside, give it a visual. You know the score by now. And yeah, we'll take it from there. See if we can work out what this amp needs. So he's asked for service as required, bit of a resurrection, check over, make sure it's good to use. It is a bit noisy, so it's probably just in need of service items. Test the valves, check its output power. It's the rear panel. It's got a... Oh, I don't recognise that brand. Where's my glasses? Where's my glasses gone? Why can't I find my glasses? The irony of not being able to find your glasses because you need your glasses. Right, anyway, here we go. It is a... Any idea? I genuinely don't recognise that. USA made, but I don't recognise that 5Y3. Unfortunately, the base has come away from the glass, so if we don't get some glue down in there shortly, that will break the internal wires off. What else have we got? We've got a JJ6V6. Come on, out you come. Got us in there tight. Looks like it's been running a little bit hot, slight discoloration on the red. And in V1, the only preamp valve, we've got a Mazda. British made Mazda ECC 83. So for those of you that are inevitably going to moan that I'm using power tools on a vintage amp, I always run it on the lowest clutch setting. So it's always putting the minimum amount of torque in, and often you'll hear that clutch kick in. I do know that on the lowest clutch setting on this particular Bosch drill, it's less torque than I can achieve with my hand. So it's certainly not going to round anything off. So place your bets now. Is this completely untouched inside, or has it had work done? What do we think? What do we think? I'm going to guess that it's had basic maintenance work done in the past. So maybe the electrolytics on the board have been done, maybe one or two of the coupling caps, maybe a bias resistor or two. But you never know. Oh, there you go. I win. Electrolytics on the board have been done. It's got the original bias resistor value. It's got the original can cap. I don't remember these ever having the DPST fender switch, where it switches both the live and the neutral from the factory. Maybe they did. What else have we got? Got the blue mouldeds on the board, so it is a later amp. And can I see anything else? Okay, output transformer is dated 30th week of 74. Mains transformer is dated 6th week of 75. Cat can is dated 75, 5th week of 75. Probably a 1975. We've got, can't get focused, bit of carbon on the socket there. So it's definitely popped a valve before. That's the output valve socket. Pins in the preamp socket look okay. Rectifier socket. Maybe one or two are a bit loose, but doesn't look too bad. Okay, back inside then. There we go, a nice overhead shot for you so you can see everything. Is there anything of note? Not really. It's all pretty standard as far as I can see. Nothing stands out. Interesting that they were putting the suppression cap on the output valve socket on these as well. Can I see anything that's changed? No, I really can't. It's pretty clean. All seems to be factory actually. All seems to be factory. It's got the mid resistor is a 15k. Is that standard on these? Let me just pull a schematic. Yes, it is 15k. Mid resistor 15k. There you go. So let me just go through this. Sorry, Champ AA 764. Let me just compare the two. We'll go through, make sure there's no changes in it. 1k5 cathode resistor, 68k. Grid stoppers. Coupling cap is a 22 nanofarad. 228 ground, 47 ohm. Perhaps it'd help if I showed you what I was looking at, wouldn't it? There with the 1k5 there, yeah. Dropper resistors, got a 1k followed by a 10k, yeah. It's all stock. Cool. Anyway, let's get this thing on the test bench, fire it up and see if we can see what it's doing. Okay, on the bench, 4 ohm load hooked up, and we're going to drive the amp shortly. We're just going to try and turn this thing on. I've got the switch in the on position, put it in the off. Light bulb limiter in circuit at the moment, just while I turn this thing on. If I flip the switch, the bulb should flash slightly as the amp has an inrush current. But there you go. The switch is now in the on position, but this bulb hasn't come on, and nor is this bulb, and I can see I'm putting 0 watts out the wall. So the amp should be on right now, but it's not. Oh, there you go. It's the switch. Did you see that come on? Yeah, look. It's now in the on position, but the bulb is off. There you go. If I come around this way, there you go. Off, on, off. Oh no, it's switching properly now. So I think we've got dirty contact in the switch. Okay, so that was that issue. We'll get this thing fired up and we'll run the load into it. Currently pulling 46 watts, 47 watts, 46 watts out of the wall, which today's wall voltage is 239, and it's pulling 0.221 amps or 221 milliamps. Equates to 46 watts at the moment. Then, oh, that's cooled down. That's fine. Lovely. Right. Anyway, that's what it's doing. Signal generator on. Watching the scope into 4 ohms, remember. And there's our output sign. So tone controls are both on fully counterclockwise, so they're on 1. For 5 watts, these are rated for 5 watts into 4 ohms, which would be 4.5 volts output. So we're looking at this figure down here, that's 4 volts, which is 4 watts. Bring it up, bring it up. It's just starting to change shape, isn't it? 4.5, there's 4.5. 5.1 watts, there you go. So it's happily doing 5 watts. Right, advance the treble control. And back down. And back up. And back down. And the bass pop. Very little response from the bass. Let's try it with the treble up. Okay. Very little response from the bass control. Maximum output on the amplifier is 5.5 volts, 7.5 watts. It's about right for these. Not bad at all. Crank the treble, crank the volume up. You can see there's no sign of any parasitics going on. Yeah, not a bad little amp. Not a bad little amp. So I'm going to leave it soak testing for a while, watching the scope, see if anything changes. Treble and bass on 5. Let's run it at about 5 volts output, about there. We'll leave it running for about an hour. I'll monitor the scope, and if anything changes, I will let you know. One of the things that annoys me the most, I've moaned about this on the channel before, but it's when suppliers or manufacturers change the specification of a part without telling you, and they don't update their data sheets. So this is the Bolgin drop-in replacement. So if you're replacing a Bolgin socket on a vintage piece of gear, you can buy these IEC sockets that fit directly into the hole. So you don't have to do any more drilling, or sometimes you have to do a tiny bit of filing, but you see they've got these notches here just to help get them into the hole, so you don't need to do that. Now, the part number, the Bolgin part number is, where's it written? So on the side, it's P579. There it is. And this is the old one. This is the old style unit, and it measures. Sorry, it's in millimeters for those who, let me just zero that. For those who use something else, 29.8. And the new one, 30.5. So they've gone wider in that direction. North to south, 40.1. And the new one, 42. Hole spacing on the new one, 34.7 outside to outside. That's not centre to centre. On the other one, 35. Yet the data sheet still shows the specs for the old unit, this one here. You can see it's a different profile. It's just, it winds me up. It really does wind me up. So, yeah. Another moan for today. Just going to do a quick baseline noise floor measurement on the Champ. Now, and we're going to use the FT plot on the iPad. Now, usually this test is normally done at 1 meter away from the speaker, but I thought today I'd go a bit closer just to try and exaggerate the noise floor. So we can just show what type of improvement. And afterwards, we'll do the same test. So you'll be able to see exactly what type of improvement we've got. So the way I'm going to do this is with the treble and bass on 10 each, so they're fully cranked round, and I'm going to crank the volume all the way around as well. But we'll take two measurements, one with the volume off and then one with the volume at max. You can compare the two, see what the noise floor looks like and where those frequencies are, and then again we can compare those two afterwards. So I need to be quiet while I do this to get a proper reading on the iPad, but you'll be able to see what's going on. Managed to get an entire day just focusing on an amp build, so no repairs done yesterday, which is unusual for me considering how busy the repair side of the business is at the moment. So this is an Americana LP build. I've been cracking on with it. It's nearly done now. I've just got to do the heaters and the dual light, and then I've got a single flying lead shielded from the volume pots to V2, and then this thing can be fired up on the bench, ready to go. New cabinet just turned up for one of the many Ainsley Lister signature builds that I've got on at the moment. As you can see, lovely black Tolex, basket weave cloth, gold piping, gold badge, looks great. So need to get the handle fitted, easy enough. Need to drill the top for the chassis mounts, need to get the reverb tank and the speaker installed, and do the rest of the dressing. Then I can get this thing boxed up and shipped off to, this one is going to North America. Yep, so that's this afternoon's job. I'm asking for your help, or anyone on the channel who might know about this. Some of you might work in packaging and shipping supplies who will be able to help. So when I ship an amplifier, obviously we box them up, and we do everything we can to ensure that they don't get damaged in shipping. And I've always wanted to use these foam corners. You need 8 per box, and they measure 6 by 6 by 6 by 6, and it's 2 inch thick, or 50 mil, roughly 52 mil, something like that. Yeah. You can't buy those anywhere. I've never been able to find them. And I've rung all the shipping suppliers in the UK. Nobody sells these. You can buy the 4x4 by 1 inch squares that are adhesive, so they stick to the sides of the box, but you just can't buy those. You can buy them in polystyrene, but I don't want that. I want it in this slightly hard but compliant foam. So what I use at the moment is I use those expanding Instapack foam packets to cushion the cabinet inside the shipping box, but they're tricky to work with. They're not great, And with these, what I can do is I can get custom cardboard boxes made that are oversized by exactly whatnot, so everything fits in snug. And I've seen other amp brands use them. And sometimes when I get sent stuff, they've used these. So clearly somebody makes them, but I just can't find out who. And it's either an industry secret and nobody wants to tell me, but they just don't seem to exist. But they do, because they're physically in front of me. I've got a box of them out the back that I've collected over the years and that I use, especially for the super expensive amplifiers that are going, to the far reaches of the globe. Because they're just the best. They're just the best things for shipping. But I just can't find where I can buy them wholesale, in bulk. So if anyone knows, please let me know. I'll show you some of the other types that I've also got. Sometimes they come, when I'm shipped something, they come and they've got a cardboard backing on as well, maybe with some slight inserts. So you can get custom ones made, clearly, because I've got quite a few of them. But where you buy them from, I haven't got a clue. And like I said, I've contacted all the main shipping and packing suppliers, and they don't know either. They say we've no idea where you get them from. So if anyone knows, this is a call for help, because I'm getting fed up now, because I don't want to use the expanding packets anymore. I do want to use these. These are a far better thing to use. I just don't know where to get them from in quantity at wholesale. So yeah, let me know now below. Time for a bit of an awkward conversation. And I'm going to be as pragmatic about this as possible. I have a rule, by the way, it's an unwritten rule, in that I have a no politics and no religion rule on this channel, mainly because it's not a place for it, right? We want to talk about guitar amps and guitars and bass and speakers and cabinets and all the fun things that we enjoy. And we don't want to get dragged into conversations about stuff like that. It's not really the place for it. There are other channels that deal with that kind of stuff a lot better than I ever could, and I don't want to. So, but that's my unwritten rules. No politics, no religion. But there is, as I'm sure most of you are aware, there is a huge elephant in the room, which is this trade war that is going on at the moment. It's happened very quickly. I don't think people were, or this particular industry was particularly prepared for how severe it is. I don't think a lot of consumers are aware about how financially devastating it's going to be for the guitar industry, and how long the effects of it will last for. Someone told me that for every day it goes on, you multiply it by 6 as to how long this thing will last for. So if it lasts for 4 years, you're looking at 24 years. Is that right? 6 times 4? Yeah, 24 years is how long the effects of this could go on for before things get back to normal, if they ever do. And it's tough. Now, as far as Rift goes, because that's all I'm really qualified to talk about, is that I work out my pricing and my margins, and I have to include a dealer margin if you buy through a dealer, and I work out my prices roughly once a year. I'll put my prices up, or I'll adjust my prices once per year based on what things cost to buy in, to manufacture, any operating costs in the business, stuff like that. It's all factored in, and I know, this particular amplifier costs me this amount, and if I'm predicted to sell X amount over the year, that'll be the price. That helps me dictate the price of it, etc., etc. And I look at it once a year, often, mid-December, and then in January my prices go up or are adjusted. Sometimes they go down, whatever it appears to be. So, but we're now in a trade war, and as of today, Friday the 14th, I have received the 3rd trade price adjustment from one of my suppliers since Trump took office, because they are being hammered, and the price of certain components, and I'm talking about speakers here, are going through the roof. One particular model I know has got a 60% price increase over what it was before all this started. Transformers are going up because the cost of iron and copper is changing. Valves are going up again. Of course, they already went up massively after the Russia-Ukraine war started. And everything else just keeps going that way. Nothing stays the same. It seems every week or every couple of weeks now, prices are just going up and up and up. And I've now got 3 models in my lineup where the trade war has now obliterated my profit margin in them. So much so that I can't actually afford to sell them. So over the next couple of weeks, I've got to make a decision about whether I stop selling those models entirely, take them off sale, refund the orders that I've got for those particular models, or I put the prices up so I can at least make, hopefully, the same amount of money, not on a percentage basis, but on a pound value basis, not including inflation, so I can carry on trading on those models. That's the reality of what trade wars do to small industry. I've heard a rumour that Fender have sent out advance warning of price increases on guitars across the globe, and I'm sure the other big manufacturers too, but they've got the cash reserves to weather this stuff. Small boutique brands like me, who often build stuff one at a time, we don't have the margin. We are really, I guess you could say, intolerant of adjustments to supply chain problems, or less tolerant of them as the bigger brands are, and it affects us, a lot. I've seen a lot of Instagram posts from other small brands who are either closing up shop entirely, just doesn't make financial sense anymore. They are, or they're having to put prices up drastically. So it's tough. So I've made a similar plea to you guys before, and that says, if you're thinking about buying a guitar or a pedal or an amplifier or a pickup or a speaker cabinet or whoever, go and speak to your small local firm first, see what they can offer them, help them out, keep those in business, give them your money, don't give it to a multi-billion pound company who's handing up dividends to shareholders. Help the small guy, because once we're all gone, we are gone. It doesn't make financial sense to be in this game if the sales don't come in and we can't make a decent living or even a basic living out of doing this job. So it's tough. I hate to make these calls out, but sometimes you have to do it. You have to say it's not good, call it out for what it is. There are problems in this industry now that have been caused by this trade war. So it's tough. So yeah, I'm looking at possibly discontinuing 3 particular models in my lineup and cancelling and refunding those orders to those customers, because I certainly can't charge them what the new price would be. I could offer that to them, but pretty much they'll say no. We're looking at a roughly 30% price increase. And if you're already talking multiple thousands of pounds anyway for a hand-wired, hand-built British amp, yeah, it's a lot of money which people won't swallow. We're still in a cost of living crisis, so and I can't afford to swallow it. So I'm going to be losing those sales, losing that money, and I'm not the only one. A lot of other brands too. So tough times, but I shall try my best to keep going. Well, that's it then, guys. Thank you very much for watching once again. As always, please give this video a thumbs up or your comments and questions down below for next Wednesday's Q&A. Subscribe, hit the notification bell if you haven't already. If you're feeling super generous, why not join the channel like these guys have, and I will catch you all at the next one. So every year, without fail, the trailer plug or the electrical connector for my trailer fails, and I'll show you why. So these things are meant to be weatherproof, but you open them up and that's what happens. Every year, every spring, I have to replace this with another one, and I'm fed up with it. So I think this time we're going to pack it full of dielectric grease.